Yo, what's going on guys? Jared here. Today I'm going to be starting up a series called Competitively Budget. This is going to be a series where I'm going over decks that I think can compete at the highest tier of play for a very budget cost right now as of recording this. So this right now in this current format, pre-Phantom Nightmare, I do believe that this deck can compete at the highest tier of play and for a extreme budget at that. So overall, I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what you want to see down below in the comments for other decks in the series. But as of now, this is going to be Fire King Tri-Brigade. This deck is extremely powerful, extremely versatile, has so many different lines of play and interruptions, and you can put so many different cards in that it really lets you be able to mold it to the meta, like things of like non-engine and different types of link monsters that you're able to go into. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. I hope you guys enjoy. Please subscribe if you do. Okay guys, so here is the list for the budget Fire King deck. I got this at around $100. We are not going to include the side deck here. This is specifically the main and extra deck, but the side deck has other ideas and stuff I wanted to talk about with you guys about how these cards can be incorporated into the deck if you like them to. I know a lot of this depends on testing where the format goes and stuff like that. But as of now, I think that this is a very solid deck list and can be edited and changed to your liking. So starting off, we have 2 copies of Ponix, 3 Kieran, 3 Garunix, 1 of the level 4, I cannot remember his name off the top of my head, and then 1 of the Elephant and Negate monsters, 1 Barong, 1 Circle of the Fire King. This card has a big implication in this deck that I really like with the Tri-Brigades as well. 1 Skyburn, 3 Sanctuary, 2 Island, 3 Tenki. That is for the Fire King package. It's very nice. We have a clean 20 with this that I really enjoy. And then for the non-engine, we have 3 Imperm, 3 Bell, 3 Ash. You can make more room in this deck for more non-engine, and depending on where the meta goes, like I said, you are able to switch these cards around for things like Nibiru, DD Crow, and things like that. I am playing 1 original Simple Spoil Snake Eyes. I know this card is a little bit more pricey. This clocked in at about $8 to $10 if I remember right. But this card as an extender is very nice. Being able to get to a Ponix by sending something like Tenki or Sanctuary is a very nice free interaction without using your normal summon that you can use to be able to keep your plays going. Also, for the Tri-Brigade cards, we have 3 Kit, 1 Fractal, 2 Keras, 2 Nerval, 1 Revolt, and 1 1-for-1. This package can be, of course, all these ratios can be switched around, but I was going for more of a Tenki utility package, where if you activate Tenki, you have access to either Fractal, Barong, or a Monster Negate or a Spell or Trap Negate. I think having this versatility in the deck really adds a lot to it, because a lot of the times in Yu-Gi-Oh! You want the most versatility out of what you're activating, so you have the most options. But for this, you also could be suffering something like a long game, right? Like if you use something early, you might not be able to get it back later. So that's just something to keep in mind. And I always say, this is very important, that no deck is set in stone that is the best one. Things need to be edited and changed to the person's liking all the time. And I always encourage it with something like this as well. This is something where you can definitely edit it and change it, especially, for budgetary reasons as well. But I think that there are different ways to play this and different ways to try it out, especially for your locals, for your regionals, for your YCSs, for whatever it may be. For the extra deck, we have 1 Bear Broom, 2 Frigid, 1 of the Link 3 Tri-Brigade, 2 Omen, 1 Babushka, 1 of the Rank 8 Fire King, 1 of Amirage, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Apo, 1 of the Ancient Warrior Link 2, 1 of the Doom Eagle, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and 1 Boral Sword Dragon. I know this looks very weird compared to other lists, but for the budget sake of this, I wanted to be able to make sure that I can fit in and get the valuable stuff in here. There was 1 card that I really wanted to get in here, but for the budgetary reasons I could not get, which was the Access Code Talker. This card is extremely expensive still, and I could not get it in here, so I replaced it with something like Boral Sword Dragon. But if you have access to this card, play it. This is such a strong card, and this like Tri-Brigade with access code is so good. Being able to just use 1 Tri-Brigade, banish 3 from the graveyard, summon a Link 3, and then just go right into access code is so strong, and I cannot recommend it enough. If you have a way for access code, please play access code. But I think that this deck still operates fine without it. It's just not at the highest tier. It just needs this 1 card to be at the highest tier. This tech can definitely still operate and still puts up a ton of interruptions without it. it's just going for that last push. It could really help. But the Fire Kings also help with that last push. So usually it's not a big deal, but it is extremely helpful. Talking about a little bit more, the Doom Eagle going into this format, I think is extremely strong. Being able to quick play shuffle back stuff in the graveyard is something that not a lot of people seem to be talking about. And it like can mess up your opponent's fire decks as well. And it is extremely annoying. IP Masquerade, of course, going into something like Unicorn is still very strong, and Appaloosa is right now is still again very strong cards. I cannot stress that enough. Appo is always a strong card, especially when you back it up with other stuff like Tri-Brigade Revolt. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I want to discuss in the extra deck. Baguska is in here. This could also be switched out for something like Abyss Dweller that I have here in the side deck. You have that option if you want to. Again, all depending on how the format is going to be settled and where it's going to be going in the future. I don't think Maze of Millennia is going to switch around the format too much before Phantom Nightmare. It is going to have a little impact with transaction rollback, but I don't think Bonfire is going to add a big impact to the meta, currently at least. But now, going to other things that you can play, I have a list of cards that were in the structure deck, which is right here. The Droll, Herald of the Abyss, Solemn Judgment, Diamond Direwolf, Hita, Onslaught of the Fire Kings, the Dolgaron. Those are all cards that are in the Fire King structure deck, and these are all really, really good cards. So, like, Droll should definitely be in your main or side deck. So if you want to, like, cut down on budget, right, you could switch out Ash Blossoms maybe for Drolls, and then you could also cut the original Sinful Spoils for something else. And then that gives you roughly like $20-ish to work with. That's already halfway to your access code talker. But again, it kind of is dependent on what you are using. Just because I know that some of these cards are, again, expensive. They are up there. Herald of the Abyss, obviously, for Pearly stays in the meta. This is an excellent card to have. Same with the Dolgaron. This excellent side deck option. Solemn Judgment you can play going first in your side deck. Diamond Dire, which is a nice rank 4 option for Disruption. I don't think this is going to come up too much, but again, it's something that is, I think, notable at least. Hita for Link Climbing, I think, is definitely notable because Hita going your way up can go into something like Access Code Talker if you go that route. If you play something like Effect Veiler, that's something to keep in mind. But as of now, without Effect Veiler in the main deck and without Access Code in the extra deck, I don't think it's necessary. But this is very good if Tri-Brigade picks up more, if Fire King picks up more, having this to be able to take something like their Ponix, being able to take something like their Tri-Brigade Kit or Fractal can definitely be really strong. So again, something to keep in mind for your tournaments that you're going to. Onslaught, I think, is a decent going second option because it can summon out such a variety of things. Being able to summon out Kit from the deck, I think, is really strong, and being able to link off with it to start your combos, I think, is definitely something that is worth mentioning. Or being able to Onslaught and then popping it with Fire King Island, that is like a full combo in itself. So again, I think it's very neat and something different that you can try. Pot of Prosperity I have out in here too. This is very cheap now. Of course, it's like $3 or $4 a copy because of the rarity collection. But at the same time, because you're playing Tri-Brigade, your extra deck is pretty finite. So that's why I'm not playing it right now. And I don't think it's necessary in this deck. Fire King usually by itself can play Pot of Prosperity. But Tri-Brigade is where the extra deck is very important. And the more extra deck you have, the more versatility and push through you have with it. So again, it's in here because you can play it. Do I think you should play it? Not really. But again, I always just want more options on the table for you guys. DD Crow Nib, like I said, non-engine is extremely important, and you can fit more in here if you want to, cutting things like maybe a Tenki, the original Sinful Spoils, maybe changing around some of the engine, so you have more slots if you wish to. Same thing with the extra Fractal here. This could be extra Fractal, extra Arvata. There's so many cards that you can switch around in here just to get better ratios of stuff that you want. I know the Tri-Brigade engine might be a little weird, but again, this was only because of the Tenki line being able to give you all of that versatility. But I think it is completely reasonable if you want to switch this around, maybe cut down on Tenki, maybe add an Arvata and more Fractals, or the same thing with the original Sinful Spoils. That is completely fine. The deck will still function perfectly. We already talked about access code, but another card I want to talk about was Unchained Abomination. I know Destruction's not going to be looking in a good place right now because of how Fire King, Destruction against Fire King might not be the best, but in other matchups, Abomination is really, really strong, especially when you're sitting on something like Kieran in the hand to be able to destroy stuff that can add another destruction with the Abomination. And for a lot of slower decks, this could be very annoying, especially if you make it with IP Masquerade. So you can like IP into this, and then this can't be destroyed by card effects now while you are still destroying stuff on the field, especially maybe with something like Skyburn as well. You have a lot of options with that, so something to keep in mind. Like we already talked about Abyss Dweller already too, but then we have Ding Gearsu, which is in here as another rank 8 option that you can use. This lets you be able to send something from your from the opponent's field to the graveyard while protecting yourself from destruction. But a non-targeting send I think is very important. I just didn't find it necessary because usually you're going to link off your Fire King stuff to go into different cards. But Ding, like you don't need Ding because of Omen's existence. Omen is such a strong card, and being able to non-targeting banish something is just as good as non-targeting send something, arguably better. So I don't think Ding is necessary, but again, it is an option that you should at least know about. So yeah, I cannot preface this enough. This deck can compete, I would say, at the highest level of Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. I'm actually using this deck to climb the DB ladder as we're talking because I want to be able to say that, yeah, like I built this deck for around $100 and I'm climbing with it, and I'm not doing it with Access Code Talker in the main deck. So yeah, this is just something I wanted to preface on. The ratios are still changing as I am playing. Like I said, I believe I have another Arvata in here right now. But again, that's just me, like, after playing, like, more games, I am still fixing, but I wanted to get this deck out there to you guys so that, you know, I would rather have you be able to get it sooner than later, because I think the more this deck picks up traction, the more Tri-Brigades might go up in price when they're cheap right now, especially with the Fire King structure deck. So again, I would rather have you guys have the option to be able to get it while you can if it does go up. So that is going to be it for the actual the actual deck profile portion. I just wanted to show you guys a replay of an M board that you can make with this deck. And again, this is so cheap that you'll be able to make this M board. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay guys, so this is about a standard hand with the deck. You have pretty much your Tri-Brigades, Fire King engine, and maybe a piece or two of non-engine, but it goes together so well. I think one of the strongest play lines in this deck is being able to use Fire King Island to destroy Tri-Brigade Kit. It gets you so much value because it gets both of your engines going in one shot. So you can do Fire King Island, add the Garunix, dump the Barong, Kit, send the Nerval, and then Nerval search for a Tri-Brigade, so we're gonna get Fractal, and this sets you up for so much in the back burner too, because you get so much Tri-Beast monsters in the graveyard. At the same time, you're getting extra bodies on the field. You are able to add the extender in Kuras as well, depending on what the rest of your hand is, of course. So, and you can chain block a lot of different stuff here too. You can chain block the Garunix in the hand. You can chain block the Kit in the graveyard, the Nerval in the graveyard, with the Garunix on the field. You have so many ways to do stuff here. And then here, you can normal summon the Fractal, banish 2, to be able to summon the Rimbrum, and then you are able, or Bearbrum, and then you are able to link off the Garunix and the Fractal to go into the Farragut. You can then use Farragut to summon an extra Tri-Beast name. You can link off the Farragut and the Bearbrum to go into the Appaloosa. Okay, I actually have to pause this here. I realized I actually messed up during this combo, and I did something that you cannot do. So this is something I want to preface on now, but the combo still works perfectly fine. But this is very important, so please don't do this. I actually just had an oversight here. So when I do this, I actually link off the Rimbrum and the Farragut to go into Appaloosa. Don't do that first. Make sure you use the Nerval in your graveyard first, banishing the Garunix and the Fractal from your graveyard. To summon the Ancient Warrior Link monster here, where the Farragut is pointing, then link off for Appaloosa. So this is because when you use Bearbrum's second effect, you can only special summon Tri-Brigade monsters. Yeah, just keep that in mind. Complete oversight on my part while recording this, but I just noticed it now while recording this video. So again, this step here, and the next thing I literally do is use the Nerval. So again, just keep in mind, put the Oath here before you link off the Bearbrum, because you will be locked out of it. So the end board is the same. It's the same end board. It's just that this is now over here. And you're probably thinking, this, like, how important is that? Because now the Garunix is banished. Again, it doesn't matter because Garunix isn't going to trigger until you resolve your revolt. And the reason I say that is pretty much these two will be banished, and instead you have the links in the graveyard. But on your opponent's turn, you are going to have Kieran in your hand, and what happens is when you use Revolt, you can bring back the Farragut that you hard summoned, and the Nerval and the Garunix all together to make Omen as your banish, and then the Nerval can search Kit to your hand, and then you can use Kieran in your hand to destroy the Kit that you searched, and that allows you to bring back the Garunix that is now in your graveyard from the Omen, and then you can use that to destroy a Kieran, and then that can be your form of interruption. Of course, this is going to be after you use the Dragon Wards as well, because you need room on the board. So, again, This is like a very multi-layered interruption board. I believe it's like 4 to 5 interruptions here. Again, $100, super cheap, super good. Can play through hand traps, can play around hand traps with chain blocking. Obviously, Fire King is very resilient, but again, I preface this a lot, and I really need to make sure that it is ingrained in your guys' head that you need to be able to change these decks and to how you like them, to how your play style is, to where that's how you need them. There is no one correct way to play something. You need to put in the work. You cannot just watch a video and just understand how a deck completely works. You need to put in a little work to know how these decks work and function and operate so that you are playing them as the best that they possibly can be. So again, overall, sorry for that little mess up in the replay, but overall, I hope you guys enjoyed, and please subscribe if you did. Let me know what other decks you think can competitively compete down below in the comments. And with all that being said, this is going to be the first episode of this. I don't know how often they are going to be coming out because I only want to do this for decks that I think can compete at the highest level of Yu-Gi-Oh right now, and I think this is definitely one of them. So it's going to be pretty far and few between, but we will see. But again, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.